No, just. I'm in front of the St. Mark's Campanile in Venice. This is the most iconic part of the Venice, right? Everybody probably recognizes it. This was built about 100 years back when it was destroyed in 1902 and 1912. And so the current structure is about 112 years old. On the top we see the belfry containing the bells. It's a complicated system of bells, and the bells rings according to some schedule. So currently it's under renovation, and this small area is called a loggia, and then from here there is a lift that goes up, and we see those windows and this thing, right? This is the most recognizable part of Venice. I had seen the actual Venice 8.5 years after I seen it in Venetian in Macau, and then in Las Vegas also there is a Venetian. So the campanile there are many replicas of these campaniles in many parts of the world because it's the most inspiring. I love it, yeah, it's spectacular. Yeah, I just love it. This campanile. I'm in front of the St. Mark's Campanile in Venice. This is one of the structures that I really love the most. Unfortunately, it was closed. We couldn't go up. So Venice is, the city, the most beautiful and the romantic city, La Serenissima, and La Dominante, etc. So Venice is a total water city built on about 400 kind of bridges, and about 127 islands, and the beautiful. This is a center of the city. This is a Piazzetta, and that's the Piazza, San Marco Piazza. And this is the most striking of all because it's a belfry with a campanile, and then there are 4 symbols of Venice, and the justice goddess kind of. And then we see the winged lion in Venice. But my attention is on the Piazza San Marco. The most beautiful structure in Venice is actually collapsed in 1902, and then they rebuilt it in about 10 years in 1912. So current structure is about 100 years, more than 112 years old, we can say. And it's the most beautiful structure in Venice. It's really remarkable. I'm in Venice, and this is called the Piazza San Marco. It has a beautiful, the building and the big square, and that's the Saint Mark's Basilica. There is a clock as well that side. And this is the most spectacular thing, this is called the Campanile, the St. Mark's Campanile, because St. Mark's is the patron saint of Venice. Venice is a very unique city, a beautiful romantic city called La Serenissima and so on. And it's built on about 400 bridges and 127 islands. And this is the most striking part because has a belfry and 4 symbols on either side, and on the top is a god of justice, kind of Justina. And then it has a lift where one can go up. Unfortunately, now it's not working because they are renovating the stuff. So the bells have a complicated system, and they have a timing system. So this structure is about 113 years old. It fell down in 1902, and then they reconstructed it back in 1912. So it's spectacular. This is replicated across many areas in the world. There are many imitations and replicas of this campanile, actually, essentially a bell tower. And in places like Macau, Las Vegas, Venetian and so on. Actually, I saw the real Venice 8.5 years after I saw Venetian. So this is really spectacular. I love this, yeah. I'm at the center of the Venice called Piazza San Marco. Piazza is a large Roman square, and this is the the Piazza San Marco. These are beautiful old buildings, and that's the the Piazza, the St. Mark's Campanile, or Campanile in Italian. And then we see these these 3 iconic pillars. They have those golden the statues above them, and this is the St. Mark's Basilica. The Basilica of St. Mark's, basically. St. Mark's is a patron saint of Venice for more than 1,000 years. And then and that's the Palazzo Ducale, or the Doge's palace. Doge is the local duke of Venice. Duke is basically the head or the king of this kind of region. And then we see these 3 beautiful pillars with the sculpture. A lot of details, and this is a basilica in the sense. St. Mark's Basilica, and then there is also a clock. Probably it's not working, they're repairing it or something, so it's iconic again. And then to coming to my most favorite, the Campanile. I wanted to climb, but it's under repair or something. And then coming to the Campanile, there are a few components. This is of course the 3rd pillar, and then at a bit distance we see the 2 kind of the symbol of Venice. That's the winged lion. The golden winged lion is the kind of the symbol of Venice on one pillar, and then Saint Theodore, who is killing with the trident, and he's killing the crocodile and that kind of a dragon, and that's one thing. And then coming to this is called the Projecta. This loggia is the entrance to this great campanile. I love this campanile, but unfortunately it's closed. And then yeah, this is the Doge's Palace in big detail. The entry to the Doge's Palace, the porch, and so on, and the St. Mark's Basilica. And then yeah, this is the Loggia. It's very nostalgic just to be touching this Loggia. And this is actually when it's full functioning, we get through the steps like this, and then we go through, and then there is a lift, and then probably there are steps as well. The Loggia itself is very beautiful, though it's small. And then coming to the Campanile, my most favorite in Venice. Is we climb the lift, and then there are bells, and there are a series of times when the bells chime. There's a lot of engineering behind them, and then yeah, very nostalgic to be just touching my most favorite Campanile. So this is Venice again, and we are in front of the iconic St. Mark's Campanile. This was built in the 15th century, and then it broke down in 1902, and then it was restored in 1912, because in Venice they have a principle that everything that should be like, if it is destroyed, or then they must restore it to just like that, so no changes. Like La Fenice Theatre, Opera House was restored after fire a few times, and then the Campanile is typically a bell tower, and bells are there. It's a very complicated system of bells, that rings. And this is iconic. I mean, I love this structure. There are many imitations of Venice around the world, but there is only one Venice on the planet. Like like in Macau and in Las Vegas, USA, and in Macau, China, they have built the Venetian with the Campanile, and the gondola boats, and all the bring Doge's Palace. We see the St. Mark's Basilica in the background, and then the clock, St. Mark's kind of a clock, and this whole is called the St. Mark's Piazza San Marco, or the St. Mark's Piazza Square. It's a fantastic square. Of course, some part of it is undergoing some renovations, and particularly when you look towards the top from a drone view, you find these markings. These are probably for restaurant sitting or something. From the drone, you can find out these markings, and this is the St. Mark's Basilica, and that's the Doge's Palace. Yeah, we just moved towards the Doge's Palace, and the this is the Campanile. So I love this Campanile. This is the most iconic the Venice Campanile. This is the Bridge of Sighs, and this is actually called the Doge's Palace, or the Duke's Palace. Doge is a Duke in Italian. And then when the prisoners were after the trial, they were awarded the sentence, so they will pass through this bridge, and they will look up to the through those windows, through those holes, and then probably, because that's probably the last time that they will be seeing onto the world or the whole, so they will sigh, and that's why it's called a Bridge of Sighs. And we see this Venice with the beautiful gondolas and everything. And here is the incarnation of the jail cell, because we see the strong iron railings and pillars. So this is called the Bridge of Sighs. Yeah, I'm on. This is Venice, and I'm at the center of Venice, the top of the Rialto Bridge, and there we see really the beautiful Venice. Venice is just like instead of roads, there is water, and so the boats and water are the lifeline of Venice. So it's called the city on water, or most beautiful city, romantic city, La Serenissima, and so on. And if you really look at the buildings on the sides of the water, right, these are the rich people, they used to live, and then many of them are converted to hotels, offices, universities. Everything is on water actually in Venice. From birth to death, everything is on water. Basically, you die and your body will be towed on a water boat. So if you see the facade of the buildings, right, they are like very distinct, and facades where there is a water corner. It's called Ca. It's the name of the building starts with Ca, Odoro, or something like that. And then the real beauty is in these facades actually. The different facades of buildings, and they are built on the timber pile foundations, and then on top of that they have withstood for thousands, more than 1,000 years. So these what we are seeing is not year or two or a few decades, but these are a part of history that are hundreds or thousands of years old. So this is like this is Venice.
tak tak.
Yeah, this is Venice, and we see the Rialto Bridge. This is the this is kind of the five shops kind of opening. And then Rialto Bridge. The bridges in Venice are like this. This is a common Venice bridge, but this is we are on the Grand Canal. So in the Grand Canal there are only 4 bridges actually. Rialto is the oldest bridge and the most significant bridge because this was the center of activity and so on. And Venice, as we know, this is really what is Venice, and the beautiful gondola actually. If you really see the kind of luxury gondolas should only be black because by the local municipal government rules regulation, this golden and this is called the ferro. Ferro is the iron counterweight or iron brass or aluminum counterweight that is counterbalancing. And if you see here, you see these are the 6 comb-like things, right? The comb. These are the 6 districts of Venice, and the one pointing towards is Giudecca, where of course where no one the hostel is staying there. This is the Doge's cap, and this is the Rialto Bridge. The semicircle thing is the Rialto Bridge. This is a counterweight, ferro counterweight, and this is the beautiful Venice that we all long to see. And most beautiful. Venice is the most beautiful place on earth, I would say. It's called La Serenissima in Italian, which means the most beautiful place on earth, or the most romantic place on earth. And Venice has this film festival, this regatta. There is all this stuff. So with about 127 islands separated by more than 438 bridges, Venice is the most romantic and beautiful city. For me, I really say this is the most beautiful place on earth because I saw actual Venice many years after I saw this. So this is the beautiful, really the canal, the Grand Canal with the fronts of the various buildings, and it's really spectacular. This is Venice, and we see the spectacular St. Mark's Campanile, the Doge's Palace, and the Piazza San Marco from here, and the St. Mark's. And this is Santa Maria della Salute, and this is where the Grand Canal is meeting the Giudecca Canal. And if you go back just at the top of the Campanile, from there the bells were ringing. And this is looking at right here, it's spectacular. This is the San Giorgio Maggiore Church, and that's the Giudecca Island and the Redentore Church. So this is Venice. Venezia Mestre station below, and the Fincantieri shipyard, which builds very large cruise ships as well as the cargo ships. This is one of the Marghera on the other side of the Venice. The main Venice. This is the main Venice in the mainland, and then from there we need to cross the bridge to go to the real water Venice. Getting built in the Fincantieri shipyard. Approaching the end of the mainland Venice, and then we'll need to cross the bridge. The railway also will cross the bridge along with us. So the Italia trains that we are seeing, and then we saw the cruise ship getting built at the Marghera shipyard of Fincantieri. This is the other way around one. Yeah, the crossing point almost seems to have come, and then we need to cross the bridge here to Venice, to the main water Venice. Yeah, the railway station, the railway tracks are crossing, and they will cross the tracks along with us. So, yeah, train is going, the train Italia train, and then most likely we had approached the part of the bridge here, Padua. This is the metropolitan area is called Padua, PATREVE, Padua, Treviso and Venice, and it's a big metropolitan area comparable with many other metropolitan areas in the world. And then Ravenna and all these places, Venezia. Yeah, now I think the bridge, we're almost approaching the bridge. I'm just waiting for the bridge to come, wherein the train will be on our side, and then we're seeing two Italo red train. And then we have come to the place. Now we're crossing this together. The trains are coming. This is the main part of where the train is crossing the bridge. This bridge, I believe, the train bridge, I believe, was built by Austria or 100 years old or something. There's a huge history, and then this crossing this will get us to the main water Venice, city on Venice, the city on water. So this is the main inland Venice, and this is we're getting to the water Venice by crossing this causeway, sort of. And we get to a place called Piazzale, Roma, which is the Roman piazza. Italy has a very strong tradition of having the piazzas or large squares, and then piazzetta is a small square. And there we see we are crossing this causeway together to get into Venice, and the train is actually crossing along with us. So Yeah, last time I was in Venice, I was on the train, so I was on the other side. So it's yeah. So there are a lot of I don't know, some pipeline things that they are putting in, I believe, because Venice actually the problem with Venice can be both it could be subject to flooding, so more water is dangerous. Also, if less water is there, the foundations will get will shrink, and the buildings in the real water Venice itself may be in danger. So more water or less water is both dangerous for Venice, and even UNESCO has put it on the alert list, kind of to be really protected, because there is only one Venice on this earth. And we are seeing the first site of Venice buildings. Today is very misty, so it's not really very clear, but otherwise we are seeing the Red Italo train, and then we are almost approached the Piazzale Roma, and then there is a small people mover there, and that people mover takes us to there. All the trains, train stop at the Saint Lucia station, and then the bus stop at the Piazzale Roma, and yeah, from there you have the real water city, and water Venice city of water takes over. You see the beautiful red train, the Italo train. The two trains are running parallelly almost. So we have almost reached Venice, main water city Venice. Yeah, we see the wooden blocks and water. Yeah, we have reached the main water city of Venice. This is the Venetian Saint Lucia station in the main water city of Venice. And then the bus also just stopped by the side, which is called a square called the Piazzale Roma. That is the stopping point for buses, cars, and everything. And yeah, we see this station Venice coming, and at a distance we see the railway station. There we see the railway station with the trains and yeah, these are the buildings in the main Venice. The main water city Venice has started. So yeah, we're just getting the glimpse of the canal. And the main station in Venice is called the Venice Saint Lucia station. And this was almost created more than 100 years back, and then I believe they created there's a church called Saint Lucia Church was there. So yeah, these beautiful Venetian buildings are coming into view now, and we see the really beautiful yeah, this is Venice. Yeah, the first site of Venice, the water Venice, yeah, the real water city Venice. And then we are seeing this, yeah, this is the Piazzale Roma, where the buses stop, and where all automotive stop. From here this starts the real the water Venice. Yeah, this is called the Piazzale Roma. So here you have the buses, and I believe the trains or trams kind of run on single wheel, single line. So that's what we are seeing in Venice Mestre as well, near Venice Mestre also. Yeah, with these are the real the first site of the Venice buildings, and then buses are stopping here. So